Battle of Bata'an by Courtney Smith.
And Caitlin Hu, period 2. When was the Battle of Bata'an?
It started in December 1941 and ended in April 1942. Who was involved in the Battle of Bata'an?
The United States, Japan, and the Philippines were involved. Where did it take place?
The Philippines.
Why there?
It took place there because it was the Philippines and the United States against the Japanese. The Japanese had just bombed Pearl Harbor, the United States' largest Pacific military base.
Oh, I see. And then they went after the Philippines because that was the location of the United States' second largest Pacific military base.
Correct. Japanese soldiers began landing on the Philippines on December 8th.
This is a map of where the battle took place, which is in the Philippines.
Here is where the United States kept their military base. I wonder why they chose this location.
They chose this location for their base because it was ideal for trade and shipping lanes.
It is on the Pacific Ocean. Look, here's Lingayen Gulf and Lammen Bay.
What happened there?
The main assault took place there. It started on December 22nd. The U.S. was unable to keep the Japanese from landing.
So what did the U.S. do?
General Douglas MacArthur put WPO-3 in place.
That stands for War Plan Orange 3, which was a defensive retreat.
They retreated back to the Bata'an Peninsula to wait for U.S. Navy reinforcement.
Then the bombing of Pearl Harbor happened on December 7th, causing a long wait. Here is the Abu K mountain line.
Is that where the Japanese began their assault on January 9th?
Yes, by the 22nd, the U.S. had to surrender the line because of the wave assaults proved to be too much to defend.
Then the Japanese fought the U.S. until they retreated to their final defensive position on the peninsula.
The main assault started on December 22nd.
It began with the Japanese attacking Lingayen Gulf and Lammen Bay.
After that, what happened?
Then after settling WPO-3 into place, the United States and Filipino forces slowly retreated back to the Bata'an Peninsula.
So at the Bata'an Peninsula, they waited for help from the United States Navy?
But the Japanese had surprise attacked Pearl Harbor, so it would be a long wait.
On January 22nd, 1942, the United States set up a defensive line at Manila Bay to give more time for the Philippines and United States to retreat.
The army fell back to the Abu K Maaban line. The Japanese pushed through this line.
By the 22nd, the U.S. was forced to surrender the Abu K Maaban line.
From January 22nd to February 8th, the U.S. fought the Japanese as they retreated to the peninsula.
On March 12th, General MacArthur was taken from the island by boat and eventually arrived in Australia.
On April 3rd, the Japanese began bombing the Philippines.
They bombed the U.S. positions on Bata'an.
On April 9th, U.S. General King surrendered to the Japanese.
All the remaining 75,000 soldiers became prisoners of war.
60,000 of them were Filipino.
And 15,000 were American. So what happened to the prisoners of war that were captured?
They were forced to march from Malairas
To San Fernando.
Then they were put on trains and taken to Camp O'Donnell.
While on the march, they were denied food.
Given little water and had to march all the time. I wonder how many deaths occurred because of this.
It is estimated 11,000.
The Japanese would behead, cut throats, stab with their bayonets, and beat with the butt of their rifles.
And that concludes our presentation.
The end.